Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by SupermanHomepage.com, the number one Superman fan site in the world. In this, our July 8th, 2024 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics, including what's been happening with the Superman movie filming in Cleveland. There's been an accident on set. We'll get into that in a second. We're going to be talking about the latest episode of My Adventures with Superman. What we can expect from Season 4, or what they're going to be doing before Season 4 of Superman and Lois. We've got other stuff to talk about tonight. We're going to do our fan favourite question. We've got our costume analysis. And joining me, as always, are my good two friends, Michael Bailey and Mark Lax. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Doing well. What's new with you guys? How have you all been? I mean, I can see you're both sweltering. You're both hot. Michael,
Yes.
Air conditioning's been sorted at your place. I'm glad to hear.
Yes. It's good. It was terrible. God. No, it's going fine. You know, just normal, everyday stuff. I've been actually watching the 4th season of Lois and Clark and not hating my life. So, you know.
Very good. And Mark, what's happening with you? You've been having a busy week. Extra shifts at work and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, extra shifts at work. It's been, almost 100 degrees here, and the humidity, it's like walking through maple syrup. But,
It's not wrong.
exactly. And, we're surviving. We're doing okay.
Glad to hear it. Well, we're having a few troubles with our Facebook feed tonight. So we are just on YouTube and Twitter at the moment. I'll try to see if I can get the Facebook one started. So if anybody was hoping to tune in over there, they're sadly disappointed at the moment. But we want to thank our sponsors and patrons. And we've kind of got a new kind of little thing that we're doing at the moment to thank them. Because for them, they've bought us a coffee. I haven't got my coffee mug with me at the moment, but I plan to get my Superman coffee mug in future to thank these people for their donations towards supporting the show. Thanks to Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray, because pretty much for their support, they're pretty much buying me a coffee or buying us a coffee each time we have a show 4 times a month. So you can join those fine folks and have your name there on the screen as a supporter of Superman Homepage Live. When you go to the join button on YouTube, all you have to do is click the join button, or you can go to patreon.com/Superman homepage and support the show that way. If you want to have your name in the credits read out each and every week here on Superman Homepage Live, we appreciate their support. And we want to thank everyone who's tuning in live with us tonight as well. We appreciate your company. So tonight, gentlemen, we are going to get into exactly what's been happening with the world of Superman as far as the filming is concerned with the upcoming film 2025 movie. There's been a lot of stuff going on around about the film there in downtown Cleveland. Now, if you are trying to stay spoiler-free, then you've probably come to the wrong show, because we are going to be looking at details that have, been posted online in regards to what's happening. There's not story details or anything like that. I mean, you can speculate and you can have a look at some of the things that you might be seeing in the film, but really, to me, it doesn't come across as too much of a spoiler information. I don't know what you guys feel about spoilers. I mean, with these kinds of things, in the position that we're in, we deal with them all the time. But having been through Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, and even before that, Superman Returns, did you guys ever feel like the film was spoilt for you, having seen what we've seen online, what we report on? Michael?
I think maybe they went a little too far during Superman Returns when they had the behind-the-scenes videos
Right, yeah.
that Bryan Singer put out. I think we saw a little too much. But at the same time, I'm the one that chose to watch those. So I only have myself to blame on that.
Yeah.
I don't think we've had really any spoilers as of yet revealed with these set pics. More than anything, we've just seen what characters look like, and that's a natural part of movie promotion. So I know some people don't want to see absolutely anything, and they consider, like, if you tell them, I joked earlier today with somebody on the artist formerly known as Twitter. She's like, she posted a picture of like Clark Kent as Superman. I'm like, these Superman spoilers are just getting out of control. And I honestly feel that some people are like that. Like if you tell them that Superman's in the movie, they're going to be like, I don't want to hear anything. And it's like the movie's called Superman. But everybody has their bridge too far. I think we've been. I think they were radio silent for so many months, and now we're getting these pictures that it's all part of the plan. I almost feel like we need the money cash register thing from back in the Hooga Man days.
You mean this thing?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. But no, I actually like the amount of stuff we've been seeing. It's generated a lot of excitement for the film. People are talking about it, and people seem mostly positive about it as well.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed too. I mean, regardless of whether I want to be spoiled or not, I'm going to watch every time they put something out. I'm going to look at it. I do think they've been putting a lot of stuff out, a lot more than I even remember. I mean, I don't remember a lot of the stuff from Superman Returns when they put a lot of those set photos out. But I mean, I don't think we're being actually spoiled about anything, but they're really putting a lot of stuff out. I mean, they're going. I don't know if are they leaving Cleveland? Or are they still?
They're still in Cleveland at the moment. Yeah, they've been on the bridge today, which we'll get to in a second. But yeah, they've moved locations, but they're still in downtown Cleveland. And yeah, I mean, and they've been, the sets have been pretty much open for a lot of people. Obviously, there are barricades and things once they've finished constructing the sets, but there are still businesses and things that are got to, operate in and around that area. They can't shut everybody down, and there are apartment blocks and things where people have got window access to look over these areas. So, and then you got drones. People have got drones at their disposal these days, and a lot of those are flying around. I don't know how you can shoot them down, but yeah. So there's been a lot that's been seen. But let's have a look firstly at what's been happening in downtown Cleveland this past week. We've got explosions that have been happening. Here's a little bit of a video of some of the people that have spotted these things.
Extra hot. On go. Ready? And 3, 2, 1, go.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Again, they're showing this, but do we know what this is?
No,
I mean,
exactly.
I don't know where that takes place, when that takes place, it's just it's revving up our our excitement.
So
that's fine with me.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. All I can assume is in here we've got this blue figure standing in as what will be Superman, probably protecting. It looks like he's in a very protective stance there, as a stand-in for where the figure of Superman will stand. When we don't know why, and then there's that image of him actually jumping in a very similar position of him protecting this young girl. So we can assume that that's a scene in the movie. But how and why? I mean, that's pretty much non-existent as far as we don't know what the story is. But then there's Superman leaping over onto a mat. That all these special effects will obviously be taking place. But again, we don't know the context of the story. We don't know how these fit into the story. But I'm not surprised to see Superman flying. I'm not surprised to see Superman protecting a little girl.
No.
Oh, the way you guys were going through that, like, we don't know what this is. What is this? It reminded me of Gus Gorman from Superman 3. Hold the pickles, hold the sauce. I don't want any buns. Can I have special sauce, please? No special sauce, please.
So yeah,
I don't know why my brain works that way.
So yeah, I mean,
just like Richard Pryor, right?
Just like Richard Pryor, yeah. So interesting to see what's going on there. Now, probably what I would consider a bit of a spoiler, and this might be something where we need to put this little graphic up first, but what is a spoiler alert is that there is going to be a nice tribute to Christopher Reeve in this film by including his son, Will Reeve, as a reporter in the movie. Will was filmed on set. I mean, Will is a journalist and a TV personality. already in his own right as his profession. That's what he does. And he's going to be making an appearance as a reporter in this movie, which I think is a wonderful tribute and just a touching thing to do. Have a look.
See that guy playing a reporter? It's Will Reeve. He's the son of Christopher Reeve, who starred as the Man of Steel in the 1980s. Will is a real reporter for ABC News and apparently has a cameo in the film. All the actors.
So there's just a bit of Fox 8's report on that. So like I said, it's not like we're going out there and finding things that nobody else is seeing, or we're posting stuff that isn't already out there in the media. Like, the TV reporters are reporting on this. This was a big story because it's Christopher Reeve's son. I mean, how couldn't this catch fire as being a story that people would report on?
Yeah, if it's on TV like that, you can't spoil anything.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder if one of the reports is live from Cleveland. This guy isn't as good as my dad. Film at 11.
That'd be funny. Yeah, so it's just, that's a really nice, touching tribute that they have included Will Reeve in the movie as a nice nod to his father's legacy.
Oh yeah. I mean, they changed the name from Superman Legacy, but they're doing a lot with the legacy, and it does.
No, absolutely.
The way James Gunn is seems to be doing this film, this does not surprise me at all, and I think it's a wonderful gesture to Christopher Reeve.
Yep, indeed. So there goes a spoiler alert, flying graphic. So that was just a nice touch. But we saw, another day of filming revealed some crowd scenes where we saw the rest of the John Patrick Van Pelt reminded me that Will is Christopher Reeve's youngest son. He has a daughter and a son who are older than Will, but that's his youngest son. We saw more scenes being filmed, I should say, from the movie, where we got to see some of the other actors and characters, some of the other superheroes. Now, there are some, I guess, spoilery imagery in the fact that when you get close-ups on, you got Guy Gardner, Green Lantern there, and you've got Hawkgirl, and Mr. Terrific, and you got Superman being mobbed by children, grabbing children, people cheering for them. What you'd expect to see from people seeing superheroes in the flesh. But something that was interesting was some of the costumes. I mean, they're not like their normal costumes that you would normally see from, but they've all got the Lord Tech logo, it appears, on their costumes or their jackets, the front of their shirts, and they all seem to be very similarly dressed. Like this could be kind of like a Justice League International type of situation. I don't know. What do you think, Michael?
I think the symbol looks like JL on their chests. I think this is going to be a version of the Justice League for this world starting off. So it makes sense that they would all have similar outfits if that's the case. And so I was surprised at the Guy Gardner outfit. Not surprised by the hairpiece because I didn't think they were going to do the bowl cut. But when I saw those, I was like, "Oh, that's really interesting." They're really building this world out pretty quick in the confines of. Excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. In the confines of this film. Again, I'm hoping we get more Superman than anything else in the Superman film. But I'm not going to be one of those people that just like, is Superman going to appear in this film? Because obviously he's the main focus.
Yeah, indeed. Mark.
Yeah, I mean, if they want to go the JLI route, I'm all for it. We really don't know. Again, we were seeing these set photos. We really don't know what the movie is really about. We really don't know where they're going to head with it. What's going to be the next movie? Are they setting up a Justice League movie? I mean, you don't know. But if they are going that route, I'm all for it. I love the Justice League International. I love that whole thing. So if that's the way they're going, I'm very happy with it.
Yeah. So really interesting to see those characters. There were a lot of discussions online about the costumes, where's the green in Green Lantern, where's the hair piece, all that kind of thing. And again, we're seeing these costumes in just raw footage. There's been no filters, there's no special effects, there's none of that. And I keep saying, if you've seen any footage from any of the previous Superman films, or even one of the examples I put was the original Star Wars film. If you saw some of the raw footage from that, it looks like a shockingly bad fan film being put together. And then you see the masterpiece that it became once everything was put together. So you cannot judge anything about this film based on just footage that you're seeing or photos you're seeing from people who aren't actually professional employed people by the movie. These are people who are around the set, zooming in, trying to get photos, trying to see things, and not under the right lighting, not under the right filters, all that kind of stuff. So take it with a grain of salt.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That is the best way to take it.
That's, exactly. Plenty of salt with any of these things that we're reporting on. Now, you may recall that when we saw this original photo of, official photo of David Corenswet in the costume, there were a lot of remarks about the colors of the costume, what's going on, why it looks so dark and drab. And, if you zoom in or you see a bigger image of it, you see that there looks like appears what was either soot, burn marks, some kind of dirt. It looks like battle damaged is what people are referring to it as. And then we got confirmation of that when you see this photo from the set where he's definitely been through the ringer.
He looked so mad in that picture. But yeah, it's almost like it's the same costume with just soot on it and not a completely different costume.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, I expected to see this photo at some point. I mean, why James Gunn decided to use that as the reveal of the suit, I don't know. But ever since then, I mean, everything we've seen has been the neat suit, the clean looking suit. But now we're being shown that yes, we are going to see this battle damaged suit in the movie.
Exactly. And what do you make of this squirrel? Is it Chip, the Green Lantern? Is it just Superman? We saw him saving a cat in Superman the movie. Is this? I mean, this is what's going on here. This is funny. It's a live squirrel.
No, a lot of people are saying maybe it's Chip. If it is Chip, then I will love James Gunn till the day I die because that is my favorite of the Alien Green Lanterns. He had a friend named Dale in the comics, so it was Chip and Dale. I mean, it's just such a goofy concept. So if that's what they're doing, but yeah, this is like, of all the pictures that we've gotten, this is the one I look at and went, what? Like you see like the the ice on the symbol, which was the first picture. It's like, okay, he's in the Arctic. That makes sense. I can wrap my head around that. And like all the other pictures of him, standing, putting, covering the kid, looking like he's about to take off, stuff like that. It's just like, that all makes sense. Random squirrel in a clear box. I have no idea, and I look forward to finding out.
Now, I'm guessing that the clear box is going to be removed in post, that it's just, obviously they can't have a squirrel just randomly running around the park while they're trying to film, that it's there to be, one, protect the squirrel, and two, to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. But who knew that people could hire squirrels as an extra or as something to be in a film, a trained squirrel?
Superman gets goofy powers in films. I mean, he had like the finger pointing thing and the cellophane S in Superman 2, and then in Superman 4 he had rebuild the Great Wall of China vision. Maybe in this version he can talk to animals, and he's just going to have a conversation with the squirrel about something. He's getting information about the case from the squirrel. Actually, now I really want that to be the case.
Yeah.
Now that I say it out loud.
Possible. It's possible. I mean, I can't figure. I mean, it just looks like he's petting a squirrel, but because we are who we are, we go all the way to automatically to Chip, and then maybe he's maybe he is conversing telepathically. I mean, who knows? It's just I don't know. It's got to be something though, because why would a squirrel just be there? You know, they now have a squirrel wrangler, I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's got to mean something.
I can't believe we're talking about a squirrel in a Superman movie, but
Yeah,
anyway.
hey, it's not our fault that Superman was looking at a squirrel. That is newsworthy. It's not like we're just randomly talking about a squirrel I saw outside of my window. Though actually, mainly what I see outside of my window are giant deer. Um, so it's like 5 feet from the house. I mean, it's
Oh.
and like one night I drove in and there was 10 in the driveway, and it was just like, why is our house the hangout for deer? I have no idea what is going on while I'm at work.
Have you seen that movie, Leave the World Behind?
No, I have not.
You need to check that out on Netflix.
Okay, I will see if it's available in the States.
Yeah, oh, it has to be. It's got Julia Roberts. It's it's
Oh, that movie.
Yes.
That's a horror film, right?
yeah, kind of.
Kinda?
Not really. It's more like it's like kind of an end of the world film, but with technology involved and Tesla's going wild, and so yeah, you definitely have to check that out. But there are deer in there too, which is creepy but weird. Anyway, is Dave Booth asking if you've ever seen a Sasquatch?
No,
Not yet.
I would like to. I'm one of these people that believes in cryptids, just because I'm not like
A
somebody
giant
who, like,
squirrel.
No, well, see, here's the thing: is that like I haven't seen one. The world's full of weird things. The giant squid was thought to be a myth up until very recently, but one time at work, we had a truck driver that wore a T-shirt that says "I hang with Sasquatch," and he wanted to show me the pictures that he had from his yard camera. And this dude was like committed. So I'm not quite there, but still, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Though to be fair, I live in the South, so it could be a Sasquatch or it could be Bubba from down the street who's had a little too much to drink and he's just wandering around and he's just really hairy. So
Yeah, not much difference.
It's like 6 of one, half a dozen of another, really. So
Very good. But today was, as we're reporting, some of the details that came out were about an accident that happened on the Detroit Superior Bridge is where they've been filming today. And there was like a scene where cars were, on the bridge, on the road. People were running away from something that happened. And unfortunately, a stuntman who was riding a motorcycle has been injured in the process of doing one of these stunts, driving around. And, there was Metropolis Museum of Modern Art. It was one of the sets as well. But, yeah, unfortunately, he came off his bike, seems to have busted his knee. Filming was stopped. Paramedics, ambulance was called. He was put on a stretcher and taken off to hospital. We hope that he is fine, but that's a bit of an incident that took place today. And these things do happen. People, riding a motorbike, dodging through traffic, and he's either skipped, clipped something, we don't know, but unfortunately has come to a knee-shattering end, and we wish him all the best.
Man, I'm glad. Not that I'm saying that his injury isn't serious, but motorcycle accidents can be like deadly, like faster than a car accident.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm kind of, when I saw him on the ground holding his knee, it's like I'm sure that hurts because I've had knee injuries myself. But I'm glad that he was able to be taken somewhere and was conscious when that happened.
Yeah, I mean, holding a knee doesn't look too bad compared to some of the motorbike accidents that you might come across. So there doesn't seem to be any, not a compound fracture or anything like that, thank goodness. So it's just bad damage to his knee. Wishing them all the best. But yeah, accidents do happen on sets. That's what stuntmen get paid to do. Not to get injured, but to risk injury.
James Gunn strikes me as somebody that his sets are going to be as safe as humanly possible because he wants these people to be able to go home at night. But when you're dealing with any kind of action like this, from an actor pulling a muscle to an accident like this to something more serious, it can happen. So I'm sure it was probably like a freak thing.
Yeah. It didn't look like there was explosions or things like that happening. It just looks
No.
like somebody fell off their bike. Doesn't seem to be run into anything else. The bike seems to be there on its own. Sith Happens in the comments says, didn't someone die filming Deadpool 2 on a motorcycle? I hadn't heard that. It could be the case. I know somebody died. Vic Morrow died in the making of the Twilight Zone movie on Steven Spielberg's watch.
Children,
Yeah, Vic. Yeah, that was John Landis was the director there,
Okay.
and not only did Vic Morrow die, but 2 kids died. They were not supposed to be there. That was one of those clear things were way too dangerous for what they were doing, and that's why it created such a hubbub. But that was just, man, that was a tragedy. I remember I was a kid when that happened, and I remember registering it because it was like major news.
John Patrick Van Pelt saying, what were they filming on the bridge today? Well, from what I believe, they were filming like a scene where cars and people were running away from something. So we don't know anything beyond that. But that's when the accident happened, when those kind of getaway scenes were being filmed. Yep. I gather they'll still be doing, I think till mid-July. They're still there in downtown Cleveland. So we may see more things coming to light in the coming days and weeks. So exciting times for the new Superman film, which will be released next year around this time. What is it? What did we say? July 11th, 2025?
Yep. July 11th, 2025. We're
before a year away.
Nearly a year away. It's getting real. I don't expect to see a trailer at San Diego, but I'm sure there's going to be one by the end of the year.
Well, I saw the most ridiculous tweet. We're still calling them tweets. Someone was saying, we will get a teaser to Superman next year. I'm going, thanks, Scoop. Like,
yeah,
I thought we were going to get one in 2026.
Wow.
Do you shake the magic 8-ball and get that out? Just like, thanks, Kreskin. We're glad that you were. I mean, is this one of Nostradamus's quatrains? I just
seriously.
I just no. It's just and I get it. Like some people just are excited and they just want to say something. But if you're like trying to present it like you're dropping some knowledge, like you're like you have some inside information. It's just like back when those like Cosmic Book News and We've Got This Covered would say like the most absurd things, and every once in a while one would like have a kernel of truth to it. Later they'd be like, it's like, I don't know if either of you have seen Has Been Hotel on Amazon Prime, but there's a point where something comes out and they look at the guy who controls these little eggs that reveal this information. He's like, what? They say insane stuff all the time. How was I supposed to know this was true? And that's kind of how I feel about these tweets.
Exactly. It's like throwing darts at a board. One's finally going to land on something. But if they'd phrased it in such a way that they're saying, we're not going to get a teaser until next year, then that would make sense. But they didn't say that. It was like, we will get a teaser next year. It's like, okay, some people might speculate that we might have got one towards the end of this year or something like that, which we still might. But yeah, that was just weird.
I'm thinking that we probably will get something before the end of the year, simply because, I think it's a little too soon right now because it's like over a year. I mean, before the film comes out. But once you get into like the fall and especially around Christmas, especially with all the Oscar bait at Christmas, that's when you want a trailer out to be in front of these films that everyone's going to see, and it's a good time for it because you're 7 months out from the film. So it's just I'm looking forward to it. The thing that I'm hoping from the trailer more than anything is I want to hear a snippet of the theme.
Yes,
because I'm really curious about what this is going to sound like, because I know they're not using the Williams theme, which I'm okay with. The Williams theme is like ice cream for dessert. Like if you offer it to me, I'm going to take it just about every single time because I like ice cream. But if someone's just like, no, we're gonna do like this new thing, it's just like, okay, I'll give it a shot. Why not? I still got ice cream at home.
Yeah.
Have they mentioned who's doing the music? They haven't.
I forget the guy's name. It's somebody Gunn has worked with before, and all the music's done. That's the thing.
Oh wow.
That was the cool thing that I was reading about that a couple weeks ago. Not that I'm breaking news here because it was like a month old article, but basically Gunn likes to have the music done ahead of time so they can play it while they're filming the scene, so that it really matches up. And I'm like, that's a great idea. I'm sure there's tweaks done here and there, like in the final mixing, but it must be. I mean, imagine being Christopher Reeve and that Williams theme is playing while you're doing the scene.
That would make it. It just adds an extra element to it, doesn't it? That to your performance, hearing the music that's going to be tracked behind it. So that's where we're at with the new Superman film. We're nearly a year out from it being released. I would be surprised if we didn't get something before the end of the year, especially in the Christmas period where those kind of films come out that you're saying. But let's have a look at some other movie news. This is kind of a weird one because Zack Snyder's Justice League Justice is Grey, the black and white version of his 4-hour epic superhero film, was supposedly getting a theatrical release in Los Angeles next month. But it's just the Egyptian theater is showing it. Zack made out to many people that it was like a theater run that was going to be happening right across the US. It's just happening in LA at the Egyptian theater as part of their Zack Snyder film series thing that they're doing. And it will be on August the 1st on Thursday at 7:15 p.m., which means it won't finish till after midnight.
It's just like for the people that are excited about this, I'm very happy for them. I don't know if I'd want to go see a 4-hour film in the theater. I mean, the best thing about the 4-hour cut of Justice League is that I was able to watch it in chunks. Over a couple of days. Like I didn't have to sit in one place for 4 hours. So like are they going to have like an intermission about halfway through, let you stretch your legs? And because
so.
I mean, there's chapter breaks, so you could do that. But
they tell you on an aeroplane flight to get up and stretch your legs and do those kind of exercises because you get blood clots and all that kind of stuff. But it is a free event, but you do have to RSVP to get tickets. So you go to the Egyptian Theatre's website if you're interested and in the area. And on the other movie kind of things, there are Mark Waid and Alex Ross there's a Kickstarter being run for a Kingdom Come, The Legend of Kingdom Come, a documentary film about the making of the legendary comic book series by Mark Waid and Alex Ross. So if you want to be part of the Kickstarter, the web site, you can go to our website and see the details for the official Kickstarter, or you can go to legendofkingdomcome.com and join their mailing list, follow the Alex Ross art on Instagram and Twitter for more details. But interesting that they're doing a documentary about the making of Kingdom Come.
It doesn't surprise me. I mean, it's one of the most famous comic book stories ever at this point. It's continuously in print. There's a movie coming out next year that has a symbol that looks like the symbol of Superman from that story. So I'm hoping that it's a good deep dive into it. Sometimes I understand that documentaries are not made for us. Documentaries are made for like a wide audience because they want people to watch it. So usually when you have something about comic books, having a documentary made about them, it's really cursory, and they kind of boil things down in a way that if you're really familiar with it, it drives you nuts. But considering that Mark Waid and Alex Ross are involved with this, I'm assuming it's going to be a really good movie.
Yeah, really interesting. Mark, Kingdom Come has just got that kind of following where you can do a documentary about it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if it was just somebody making, I wouldn't say a fan film, but just somebody saying, oh, I'm interested in this, let's put stuff together. But it's Mark Waid and Alex Ross. So I'm really interested. I mean, you're going to get a lot of concepts art. You're going to get a lot of stories about how it came together. And no, I mean, I'm interested to see this. I mean, Kingdom Come has really, I mean, when it came out, it was huge, but I didn't realize we'd be discussing it all these years later, the way we're talking about it, and and seeing all the different Kingdom Come stories they've done in the comics through the years. And no, so this should be something of great interest.
Yeah. Now, just to finish off on the movie side of things, Heritage Auctions is going to be auctioning off a costume ensemble from the Supergirl film. This costume worn by Helen Slater in the 1984 film will be auctioned off at the end of this month. It's expected to go for well over $5,000. And if you're interested, obviously go to Heritage Auctions or ha.com. But interesting that it's pretty much in its entirety.
Yeah, that's impressive that it's all together like that with the boots and everything. Because sometimes when they sell those costumes, like there was one selling one of the Christopher Reeve costumes, but it didn't have the boots, so it looked like he was wearing jammies almost because of the feet being covered. But yeah, that's impressive.
All right, so let's get into the TV side of things, where the latest episode of My Adventures with Superman, Season 2, Episode 8, was titled The Death of Clark Kent. In this one, we pretty much saw Brainiac take a mental attack on Superman to try to get inside his consciousness, work out what his weaknesses are, how he can take over, because Brainiac's looking for a new body. His metallic robotic body is breaking down, as is Kandor. It's pretty much all falling apart, and Brainiac needs a new body to kind of jump into, and he's planning on making Superman his own. And I don't know why he didn't choose Cara. I mean, isn't she Kryptonian of the same? Yeah, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. But the story was a very brutal one because there was just a mental bombardment of Superman left, right, and center. I don't know what you guys thought of it, but I really enjoyed this episode.
I confess I did not get to see it this week.
Okay.
I apologize. I did not get a chance to see it. Go ahead.
Given how many times that happened to me over the last couple of years, I'm not gonna. I'm in a glass house and in no position to throw stones. I was disappointed that in a episode titled "The Death of Clark Kent" that we didn't get to see Conduit at all. If you're going to do something called "The Death of Clark Kent," I want to see. No, I'm just kidding. No, this was a brutal episode, and what I liked about it is you had a really good set of scenes with Lois and Jimmy and Cara. You have Cara really trying to. I felt bad for her because on one hand she's trying to help her cousin. She's really happy to see Jimmy, but on the other hand she can't shake this love that she has for Brainiac because she thinks he's her father. So it's like she keeps saying something's wrong with father. I think he's malfunctioning, and I'm like, oh, that's really sad. But I loved. There's a twist at the end that I won't really go into since Mark hasn't seen it yet. But there's a really good twist at the end, where you think that Superman's won and he hasn't, and it's that final. It's just that final defeat. I was just like, that was handled exactly like it should have. That was really good. I enjoy this. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5, just across the board. I thought it was the strongest of the season so far, of a season full of strong episodes. I'll add, they're really ramping up to the end, and I'm really excited to see what happens next.
Mind the Gap saying, isn't this Brainiac a little bit like Eradicator? There is a little bit of that because he's trying to keep the keep Krypton alive, or the empire of Krypton alive, and the purity of Krypton, I think was what you were about to say there, Michael. But yeah, so there is a little bit of the element of Eradicator in this Brainiac. I love the way Michael Emerson is voicing the character. He's so sadistic.
Yeah, it's robotic and yet tinged with evil. It's a really hard thing to pull off. I also kind of appreciated their take on the Black Mercy, and the fact that at the end of the episode, Clark is given a reality where his family apparently came to Earth, and I was just like, "Ooh, that's a really good way to play with that concept." And again, this is what this show does. As much as I was a little annoyed with Supergirl at the beginning of the season, and I stand by those statements, but I will also admit that it's been really enjoyable, is that they take these concepts that we're familiar with and they just do a new and fresh take on it that makes it feel brand new. And that's why I'm kind of excited to see the next episode, because I want to see what that family dynamic's like. And
Yeah.
I have a feeling that Lois is going to be part of it because she put the thing on as well.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see where this goes. A question from John Patrick Van Pelt, a super chat, which, by the way, you can put up on our screen if you want to donate something. Just click the dollar symbol there, and a slider will appear on your screen, and we will feature your question or comment on the screen. Wasn't sure exactly what Supergirl was talking to Brainiac about. Well, I think what she was discussing with him was the fact that she realizes now that Brainiac had brainwashed her and made her forget everything that she had done and he had done to destroy all those planets that they had gone to, where she thought she saw a lively, vibrant society. He saw a weak and non-Kryptonian purity that didn't deserve to remain, and so was destroying them. That was pretty brutal for Cara to find out that. John also said, I felt like Cara Jimmy scenes were amazingly special, especially the love is between the two. Kind of going back to the 1984 Supergirl movie a little bit. Yeah, I think that's a nice kind of... I mean, you can draw that connection if you want to, but not so much.
But Jimmy was with Lucy in that movie.
Yeah.
It was what's his name from Die Hard that was in love with Cara. So
yeah,
I mean,
so not so much.
I mean, like, I'm glad Mark McClure kept getting work, but yeah, he was all about Lucy, which kind of creepy.
Yeah,
I don't know how old Jimmy is supposed to be in these films, but that looks like a bunch of high school girls. Is this like college age? What's going on? I know it was the '80s, but come on.
So yeah, good episode. Really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy it when you get to see it, Mark, because it is a great episode with a title that obviously harkens back to a comic book story that was very interesting. But then we got the promo for the upcoming 9th episode of Season 2, which is titled Superman with an exclamation mark. Here is the promo for this upcoming episode.
On the next all-new episode of My Adventures with Superman.
What?
What are you doing here? Who are you, trespasser?
I don't know. I can't remember.
My Adventures with Superman, new episode, next Saturday at midnight on Toonami, next day on Max.
Amnesia Lois.
Mm-hmm. Well, human brain probably wasn't meant for that thing.
No, exactly. So putting on the Black Mercy wasn't a great idea, and we finally get to see Jor-El again. We thought he'd gone forever. He's
Space
back.
Dad's back.
Yay. Before we get into our fan favorite question and costume analysis, which we need to kind of squeeze in the last 15 minutes of tonight's show, Superman and Lois is not that far away, but the CW will be airing a repeat of the Season 3 finale on Thursday, October 10th at 7 p.m., giving you a chance to rewatch the final episode of the last season before we see the beginning of the final season. So that will take place, as I said, Thursday, October 10th at 7 p.m. And then Season 4 starts the following Thursday with a 2-hour premiere at 8 p.m. All right, now getting into our fan favorite question. Here we go with our promo. A lot of people responded to this week's fan favorite question, which is probably to Michael's liking because it was about Baby Superman comic book covers. And gentlemen, we had a couple of respondents. Who were they?
David Rustich wrote, having grown up reading Silver Age comics, I have encountered many stories of Kal-El as an infant. I share Michael's opinion on the validity and quality of the concept, so I hope he approves of my two choices. Superboy number 79, where they're putting crypto in the thing. No! And World of Krypton number 6, variant cover. Enjoying your costume analysis. Now, you see, the thing is like I said last week, there is a difference between like showing a picture of baby Kal-El and then having Super Baby doing his shenanigans through Smallville. I mean, it's just two different concepts. I think this question really should be, why was Steve trolling Mike so hard with this one? But I doubt we'll get a lot of responses to that question.
We'll edit that out. Mark.
John Patrick Van Pelt wrote, Here are 3 baby Superman comic book covers that I hope Michael Bailey will like, as I found them to be cool comic book covers.
There we go. Well, that's an interesting one.
Oh, I
Eh.
love that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we've got this Arabic version of Superman, which they did a
Ooh.
lot of reprints with, baby Superman blowing out a volcano or cooling down a volcano. So that's an interesting one. That's a cool find. Thank you, John. So, thank you to both gentlemen for responding to the fan favorite question. Michael, what is our new fan favorite question for this week?
What is your favorite Kurt Swan comic book cover? Which is sorry, I got distracted by one of the comments that made me laugh. Yeah, what is your favorite Kurt Swan comic book cover?
Yes, so get into the fan favorite question. The email address is info@supermanhomepage.com. Send in your responses. We kind of changed tack a little bit with going back to an artist question. So your favorite Kurt Swan comic book cover, info@supermanhomepage.com. Thanks to Mark for that suggestion. I think that's a good one. We will get to that next week and read out those responses and show those covers next week. Which comment did you laugh at?
Oh, Rick responding to the Lois amnesia thing that she thinks she's going to be Wanda Detroit. That's a deep Lois and Clark cut. I appreciate that. I approve of that, Rick. And Mind the Gap. Yes, there was a banned Super Baby comic that was in one of the Elseworlds 80-page giants that had him being put to a microwave, and at some point in the process, they're like, "No, we can't release this no matter what." It eventually got put out in a hardcover, so I guess they felt it was okay there. But yeah, that was some early 2000s fun for you there, Mind the Gap.
Back to the Gremlins movie. All right, let's jump into our costume analysis series, where this week we are going to be looking at the Fleischer Superman cartoon that was shown in Superman and Lois. This one is a fan favorite for many people, and for good reason. There is a Fleischer costume side by side with the version from Superman and Lois. Very true to the look from the animated shorts. The only thing I can see really differently there is the way that the neckline and the cape kind of connect. But other than that, this was very faithful to the Fleischer Superman costume. So let's go through it bit by bit and give some analysis. Let's start with the cape. And just looking at the way that the cape, it's like the neckline is a bit obviously closer in than what, so a tighter neckline than what the Fleischer animated series had. But still, I like the way that it's tucked in underneath. I like the way that it fans out over the shoulders. Could have been a little bit of a wider neckline to kind of accentuate that a little bit, but this looks pretty good.
Yeah, the wider neckline's a tricky thing to do. I think Lois and Clark found that out with their early experiments with the costume. I like the way it looks. I think it, it's not completely accurate, but it's close enough. It's got a good length to it, so I have no complaints about the cape.
Yeah, that it's got it's got the right length. I like when it comes up to around the calves, just under the calves. I wish there was an S on the back of that, but no, I think it looks fine. It looks great, especially for one of his earlier capes.
And I don't think there was an S on the cape in the Fleischer animated series anyway.
No.
So it's
Maybe not.
kind of,
No, I guess not.
yeah, it's staying true to that, if that's what they were going through as part of their design. And then we look at the body of the costume. It is just that tight blue lycra material, and it doesn't seem to have any patterns or embossing in it. It's just straight blue tights.
Yeah, I mean, might have a little. I don't know if it's a muscle suit or not, or if that's just all heckling, which is entirely possible because the man is kind of cut. But no, and I'm surprised at the lightness of the blue. We're so used to, over the last couple of years, live action Superman suits having like a real dark hue to them. The fact that this is more of a traditional Superman blue was surprising, but not unwelcome.
Indeed.
Yeah, I think when you see the scene when he comes down, It just gives you, it's more like, because it's early in his career, it's like, one of the first things he did, so it gives you that more hopeful, hey, look at me, look at who I am. I'm the real good guy, which is true, and we're used to lighter colored suit because it's just been so dark lately. Even in Superman and Lois, and that's one of my favorites. It's still a darker suit, so it was just nice to see this brighter looking suit.
Yeah, and then we've got the S Shield, which is obviously a replica of, as close to, of the Fleischer animated series. You've got the red S, the black background, and the yellow border. So, I mean, it's not what we are familiar with as far as the modern day Superman S Shield, but considering it was mimicking the Fleischer costume, it's spot on. It's exactly what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm. I'm surprised that they went for a black background so early, but if you're going to do this costume, you do this costume, so you have to have it. But yeah, I like how close it is to the Fleischer S. Like they really set out to do this costume, and they really nailed it from top to bottom.
I love it for being homage to Fleischer. It looks as accurate, as possible. I do think, like Mike said, if this is his early years, I am surprised it has the black background. I mean, the Fleischer suit, obviously, it was still very early golden age, and they do want to do their own thing. So obviously, they want to do an homage to it. They're going to do the same thing, but
Exactly.
I would still think in this time in his career, in Superman and Lois, it would be more of a yellow background, but that doesn't.
Yeah, I see. I think we keep thinking of the black background because we keep thinking of, like the era in the comic books where he was mourning those death of all those people and turned his shield background to black as a thing that he did later on in his career. But this is the Fleischer costume, so they're just doing the what they did in the Fleischer costume without any kind of reference to black being something of a mourning or a grief type of feel about it. Then we move on to the trunks, and it's the red trunks. It's got the same red belt as the Fleischer. The Fleischer, as you can see, he doesn't have a yellow belt, but it has a yellow belt buckle, which is an oval shape, and they've just kind of replicated exactly again the Fleischer Superman costume, kind of color for color.
Yeah, they're more bikini than the trunks from the Fleischer, but it still looks good.
I mean, look, they want to replicate that suit. They really replicated this suit. There's only very subtle differences to it, and the trunk. Obviously, I think they were going to make the trunk a little smaller. For maybe some obvious reasons, I don't know, but no, it's still very faithful. I mean, it's still got the right color of the belt and all of that, and it just looks really good.
Then we move to the boots, and we get a side-on looker here, and it's just a side-on. It's just a red boot kind of thing. The front here, we can see that it has that slight dip. Not as deep a dip as what the Fleischer does, but it has that rounded mold to it at the top rather than the straight line with a V. So it's, again, very faithful to the Fleischer animated series.
Yep. Yeah, nothing really to add there. It doesn't look as good from the side, but that's not how it's meant to be shot. So,
yeah,
there's a difference between the shot in the show and a set photo that got leaked. So,
yeah, from the front, it really looks good. The side gives it a little more of a work boot kind of thing. But if you look, if you're looking at the pictures now, like side by side, it looks as close as you can get to those boots.
So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, this was a solid 9 out of 10 for me. I loved the homage to the Fleischer cartoons. I loved the look of this suit. It was simple. It was classic. There was no over embellishment of designs and lines and abs and things like that they try to put in later on. So I'm all in favor. This is a solid 9 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I'll give it the same thing. I remember when you showed this to me before the pilot had aired, and before you showed it right before we were doing an episode, and I remember yelling "cowards" because that's because they didn't go with that one to be like the official suit. But no, it just 9 out of 10. Just one of the best live action suits we've ever seen.
Same here. Not going to argue. 9 out of 10.
Excellent. We're all in agreement on this one, so that's really cool. So that's our costume analysis. A very simple, straightforward one for the Fleischer costume from Superman and Lois. We will continue on next week to do the Brandon Routh Kingdom Come style Superman costume from the CW crossover event, the Crisis event. So we will look at that one next week. But thank you, gentlemen, for this costume analysis. All right. Before we wrap up, an infographic I put together, an updated infographic, has been released on our website that looks at how old the different actors were when they played Superman. Obviously, now we've added in an updated Tyler Hoechlin's entry. David Corenswet's in there now as well. He just celebrates his 31st birthday today, July 8th. So happy birthday to David Corenswet, which was allowed me to put up this graphic now because I was like, I can't do it before his birthday, but when he's playing Superman when we see him on screen next year, he will be 31. So actually he'll be 32 by then, but that's neither here nor there. He was 31 when he was filming this for the most part. So that's why the infographic has been released now. But just really interesting to see the different ages and the length of time that some of the actors played Superman. Obviously, with Brandon Routh, he played him at age 27 and then didn't play him again until age 41. But, yeah, really interesting to look at how, the average age, and depending on what the movie was set in, whether it's an origin film, whether it's later in his career. I think George Reeves is the eldest that we've seen at 44.
Mm-hmm. David Corenswet is the first live-action Superman that was born after Superman died.
Okay.
Just going to let that sink in for people.
Yes, 8th of July, 1993. That's scary.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I mean, it's just... I saw that today, and it was like 1993. I was about to enter my senior year of high school. It's... Wow. Okay, he was born during Bloodlines. I'm glad that his life turned out better than it could have been, because that's got to be like being born under a bad moon or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm glad Bob Holliday's in.
Yeah, I never leave out Bob Holliday. Got to put him in there. He's my man.
No David Wilson?
No David Wilson.
Okay, that's fine.
So there you have it. That was just an infographic, which you can check out in full at our website if you want to give that a look and see where your favorite actor sits as far as his age for when he was playing Superman. Well, that pretty much brings us to the end of tonight's show. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to Superman Homepage Live for this episode. We want to thank all those people who spent the last hour with us. We appreciate your company. We appreciate your comments and your questions. We have been keeping an eye on them and referring to them whenever possible throughout this past hour. I want to thank our sponsors and patrons, our coffee. I promise I'll have my coffee next week for you people to celebrate your input on tonight's show and every show each week. Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray, thank you for your support. And don't forget, if you want to join those fine folks and support our show, just go to the Superman Homepage YouTube channel, click the join button, and there are different levels of membership with different levels of perks. Or you can actually go to patreon.com/Superman Homepage. But I want to thank my two co-hosts tonight. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Mark.
Pleasure as always, guys.
Sorry, Michael, after all these years, I've put you on the other side of your screen now, and now you're
I'm still trying to look over here, and it just there's nothing. I mean,
I can switch you over if you want me to.
No, I'm good. I'll get used to it.
You'll get used to it. But we will be back next week on Monday, July 15th at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. Hope you'll join us then for another edition of Superman Homepage Live. Until then, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. I'm Steve Eunice on behalf of myself and Michael Bailey and Mark Lax. Thanks for joining us on Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com. Good night.